Well, sim racing for simpletons continues on its merry way, and now it heads to an iconic location in the United Kingdom. Yes, you might have heard of Brands Hatch, Silverstone, Cadwell Park, and many more. But Donington Grand Prix circuit layout is going to be the one that is going to test our drivers for 32 laps tonight. Hello, everyone, and welcome along to the JP Broadcasting Network as you join us for coverage of what should be an interesting 32 lap encounter for effectively round 6 of the Sim Racing for Simpletons season. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, and I'm going to be joined in the booth tonight by Mr. Chris Murphy as we are in the final few moments, well, we're about nearly halfway through qualifying here for the event at Donington Park. But last time out at Spa-Francorchamps, let's just remind you of the race classification. Final time through the bus stop chicane, JT Smeaton dropped, I think, made the biggest mistake that he's done ever so far, as he ended up going through the bus stop chicane, hit the throttle, and all of a sudden the car went spinning. And then Adam Merchant, his tied-on points racing teammate, would pick up the win at Spa-Francorchamps. But JT Smeaton was so lucky that he outdragged Gabriel Hopp from FNG Racing to take second position. Elliot Court and Jeff Groff round out your top 5, with Kostek Solowyj and Frankie Brzezowski rounding at the top 7. Elliot Rolls, Carson Keane, and Christian Jasper round out your top 10 from last time out at round 5 on October the 26th. So let's have a look at what that does to the updated driver standings, and the gap between JT Smeaton and Gabriel Hopp now drops to 13 points, with this and just a handful of rounds remaining. Elliot Court now moves up into third position ahead of Kostek, with Adam Merchant, Jeff Groff and João de Gregorio rounding out your top 7, bearing in mind that Gregorio was not with us last week. Christopher Sears and Frankie Brzezowski are tied on 41 apiece, with Max Shaverley rounding out your top 10. But then, how has that also affected the Simpleton Cup standings for the teams? Well, tied on points racing now have a 43-point advantage over FNG Racing, with DDK Racing and TH Jordan rounding out your top 3. Ghost Squadra, Kimata Racing, SR4S, Turn 1 Survivors, DFYRS Racing Team, Halo Tracks Toyota, Beyond Beautiful Lads rounding out your top 10. And with that, that's the housekeeping taken care of. So let's head back trackside. Chris Murphy, how are you, sir? It looks like we're going to have an interesting one here at Donington Park for round 6 of Sim Racing for Simpletons this season.
Just excellent tonight, Alex. Happy to be with you. It's my first time with the SR4S, the Simpleton Racing, and also my first time here at Donington Park. So really excited to see what's going to bring us tonight. These the Super Formula cars are going to put on quite a show here at Donington, I have a feeling.
Yes, indeed. For those unfamiliar of Super Formula, they are effectively the Japanese cousins of IndyCar, let's say. All of them powered by a 2-litre inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that produces around about 550 brake horsepower. And the Japanese, on iRacing it's called push to pass, but in Super Formula circles, push to pass is actually known as OTS, overtake system. So the drivers have a maximum of 200 seconds per race, but after every deployment, they've got to wait 90 seconds to redeploy. But with regards to it, João de Gregorio is now back at the moment and is pretty much leading proceedings at the moment, and he's leading a Brazilian 1-2 because Gabriel Hopp now has put in a 1:09, 1:40. Adam Merchant, round 5 winner at Spa-Francorchamps, rounds out your top 3. As we're coming into the final couple of moments of qualifying. So here is Brian Long as we go round the nearly 2.5 mile 12-turn circuit that was opened back in 1931, reopened back in 1977, and the current layout of the GP circuit has been in use since 1986. So one of the things that we'll see here is Brian Long accelerates up to turn number 1 at Redgate and then decides to pull into the pits. But it should be quite interesting here, Chris, because it's overcast, so no sort of real significant sunshine being shown, but 68 degrees Fahrenheit air temperature, 70 degrees Fahrenheit track temperature. So people might say, oh, well, that doesn't sound like much. Well, there's more than meets the eye, isn't there?
Yeah, 69, or was there about we do have about a 63% chance for rain, so we could see some moisture fall on the racetrack. But yeah, this track is traditionally going to be tough on tires anyway. So, but with the cooler temperatures, it may just help. That out a little bit. May not wear the tires down too quickly.
Well, we are coming down to the final dying moments of this qualifying session, and it looks like that was all she wrote because we've got 21 drivers that have managed to put in a lap, and it's normally 3 to 4 laps that the drivers will take part in this qualifying session. As we count the timer down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chequered is out for the session, and JT Smeaton, with a handful of moments to spare by, what is it, 6 100ths of a second, pips Joao de Gregorio for pole position for the 32-lap race here. Excuse me. And more to the point, he got himself another pole position this season. So let's take you through the starting grid for what is going to be an enthralling 32-lap race here at Donington Park. It is going to be JT Smeaton versus Joao de Gregorio on the front row of the grid. Gabriel Hopp rounds out the inside of the second row, and he'll be joined by Adam Merchant, last week's round 5 winner. After that, Kostek and Elliot Court round out row 3. Jeff Groff and Leo Delmas round out row 4 with Chris Sears and Christian Jasper running out the top 10. Cole Willard, Elliot Rolls, Jace Meyer, Brian Long, Anthony Zitch, Frankie Wojciechowski, Sergei Podok. Then we've got Joshua Benjamin, Jake Katz, Dakota Damaged, and Nick Dvornik rounding out the field. Just waiting for a couple more drivers to get themselves on the starting grid, and that does include JT Smeaton. And there you see the cars lining up via the helicam shot, as we should be able to hopefully very shortly go trackside as the 5 red lights start to ignite. JT Smeaton on pole, Joao de Gregorio on alongside as the lights go out for 32 laps, and it's the run down to Redgate corner. Adam Merchant trying to go round the outside of Gabriel Hopp as JT Smeaton holds off Joao de Gregorio as they go down Hollywood through into the infamous downhill Craner curves. And then it's the fast right-hander up the old hairpin through into Starkey's Bridge. And the ascent continues up the hill through Schwantz Curve and then into the right-hander at McLean's. And then up to the the very deceptive double right-hander here at Coppice before going down Starkey Straight and into the Fogarty S's. Christian Jasper picks up a track limit slowdown penalty, and that's going to stop him from moving any further forward. Meantime, JT Smeaton over Joao de Gregorio as they go into the Melbourne hairpin here for the first time, Chris, has managed to get an early advantage of about 5.5 to 6 tenths of a second.
Yeah, Smeaton with a good jump there in the start. He's got a really good start down into 1, and he is holding off to Gregorio back there in the second spot. The top 4 had started to separate themselves out a little bit, but that 5th place car of I guess I'm gonna call him Caustic, but he's actually starting to work his way back up onto the back of Merchant right now for that 4th spot too.
He is indeed, and these are going to be very, very quick laps. We're seeing it around about a 1 minute 14.8 for JT Smeaton. And there's more grass runoff than tarmac runoff here, and especially when you go through McLean's and then go up the hill to Coppice, you're going to see more of the kitty litter variety of runoff, whereby You will dirty your tyres, you will lose grip very quickly, and you'll bring it all onto the track because there's a lot of runoff area where you don't have much opportunity to, you've got to hit the brakes quite hard here when you go into the braking zones here, Chris. And as you said, you mentioned at the top of the show, tyres will suffer.
Yeah, it's all who's able to keep the freshest tires underneath them, not wear the car out too soon. You can see Smeaton right now setting a pretty blistering pace right now. He's got about over his second lead now back to Gregorio. But let's see if he wears his stuff out early or if he's able to keep that pace up for the remaining 48 minutes left of this race.
So at the moment, not much has changed. Apart from one position in the top 10, Christian Jasper in the 444 has moved up into 9th. Jace Meyer, in the meantime, is had a big old off in the number 77. Jake Katz has also gone off as well. And Meyer has tumbled to the bottom of the timesheets and has dropped down to stone dead last. He started 13th.
Look at Katz
and let's have a look. So this is going to be Katz going into Redgate Corner. And this might not bode too well. He might have carried a bit too much speed, bumps over the curbs, and the back end goes spinning, locks up the tyres, and those are definitely going to have some big old flat spots on them.
Here's what happened to Jace Meyer. Looked like we saw him off in the grass on that last shot. Look, exact same thing here. As Katz just lost it right there. Coming off the corner, is going to find himself down in the grass, but he actually off the track a little further than Katz went.
No real signs of a lock-up there from the number 77. Meantime, JT Smeaton has pulled away from Di Gregorio to the tune of about 1.25 seconds. Adam Merchant is closing in on Gabriel Hopp for that third position. At the meantime, as they go up the hill through Schwantz Curve into the right-hander here at McLean's, and then it's going to be as I said, the deceptive double right here at Coppice. You're going to want to hit the first apex, but then through the second, you want to carry that speed through and actually stay on the traditional racing line. As JT Smeaton, after we're nearly on to, I did say these laps were going to go pretty quickly. We're nearly at the end of lap 4. JT Smeaton here, Chris, has put in a 1 minute 10.240 on lap 3. He is absolutely on a mission right now to further extend his lead in the standings with just a handful of rounds to go.
Yeah, his fastest lap there, and just laid down another fastest lap right there of a 109.8, which is about a half a second faster than anybody else has ran so far. So Smeaton just blistering pace right now. And like I said, I kind of expected a little bit closer racing here, but they have really single filed out here with Smeaton now almost 2 seconds out in front.
Yeah, and Gabriel Hopp, Adam Merchant finding the limits of the track here at Donington GP. And as you can see here, Adam Merchant loses out because, he got a slowdown penalty. He's going to have to serve that, but Elliott Court and Kostek have both got through on him. So last week's round 5 winner at Spa is having a little bit of difficulty here at Donington. And to say that if you want to take that lightly, well, you're not going to end up on the best foot forward, let's be completely truthful, because of the fact that one slight lapse of concentration here at Donington can cost you more than just one position, as Adam Merchant has just proved that in spades.
And Merchant must have a little bit of an off right there with forced slowdown. Lost a couple of spots. Trying to gain it back up here. Like you said, he won last week, but won last week to somebody else's mistake of Smeaton making, like you said in the pre-race show, making a mistake on that last bus stop. But Merchant has got some work cut out for him now as he's falling back 2 spots, started in 4th, now back to 6th.
So, biggest movers, Frankie Wojciechowski up from 16th on the grid, now runs P13. And with that, Nick Dvornik, who started stone dead last, now runs 17th, up 4 spots already for the Canadian from Halo Tracks Toyota, as he goes through Schwantz Curve and up into the right-hander here at McLean's. And you can just see how hard They are pushing average speeds of around about 100, well, top speeds of around about between 170 to 175 miles an hour. I think I've even seen Nick Dornick clocked at 179.8, which looks to be the quickest speed of anybody through the speed trap. But JT Smeaton, after 6 laps, now his lead is nigh on 2 seconds. Gregorio trying to chase him down. Hop in P3. Kostek, Court, Merchant, Groff, Delmas, Jasper, and Chris Sears round out your top 10. And everyone seems to be finding their groove a little bit here now, Chris. You said about Tyredeg, of course, there's a lot of point and squirt moments whereby you come through the corner, you then hammer down on the throttle, accelerate through the gears, sometimes use the push to pass, and pretty much everybody has, apart from JT, well, looking at it, JT Smeaton, Kostek, Elliot Court, Chris Sears in the top 10 have yet to deploy their push to pass or OTS system. So they're saving it until they absolutely need it. And that's going to be another thing that can really, really hurt these tyres, the push to pass systems.
Yes, Smeaton, you talk about tire deg, but Smeaton, every lap so far is just going faster and faster. Every lap, last lap again was the best lap of the race at a 109.794. So Smeaton on a really good pace. But yeah, if you use that push to pass too early here, you only got 200 seconds to use throughout this whole race, as you said earlier. So you just have to see who has anything left at the end of this race. And if you use it in the wrong place and it gets you into the corner a little too quick, you're right. You could wear those tires out a little too fast.
Well, we are close to 1/4 distance being completed. JT Smeaton pulling now what is a 2.3 second advantage over Joao de Gregorio. Adam Merchant on the hunt to claw his way back up the order and has got Elliot Court half a second ahead in his crosshairs as they go down Starkey Straight and into the Foggy S's. And then it's the run through in towards the iconic Melbourne hairpin. Chris Sears closing in on Christian Jasper. Will he dive to the inside of the Melbourne hairpin? On this particular occasion, the answer is a definitive no, as we hit 1/4 distance, as JT Smeaton takes us on to lap number 9, and his lead margin over Joao de Gregorio is now over 2 3/4 seconds.
Yeah, this is the closest race we have on the track right now. Sears trying to get around Jasper here for this 9th spot. That looks like he's got a little bit more pace, just can't quite find a way around. We'll see if he can get up there. Sears did start at 9th, lost a spot, trying to gain it back here as Jasper has now got around him.
It's a difficult circuit to overtake at, but there are times when you can pick your moments. But with the fact that he's running in clear air, I have to say JT Smeaton is a man on a mission in the number 45. Tied on points entry, and his lead is still going up and up every single sector. It's close to 3 seconds now between JT Smeaton and Joao de Gregorio from Brazil, as those are our leading 2 cars. Adam Merchant still hunting down Elliot Court, and Gabriel Hopp being closed in on by the man from Poland. Kostek in the 222 car for P3, and Kostek new fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 9, 7:25. So as this track continues to evolve here, Chris, and the fuel levels lower, the drivers are just simply enough getting faster and faster every single corner, every single sector, every single lap.
Yeah, as you get a few more laps under your... Well, we got a car around right there. Who was that? I think that was Cote.
Elliot Court.
Yes, hard end of the barrier.
Oh, that's gonna leave a mark, I'm afraid. Elliot Court straight into pit lane, and I think that's all she wrote.
Let's see if we can take a
Car
look.
wasn't. Yeah,
oh, that's
so
already happened there.
Okay, let's have a look. Oh, right. Okay, this is coming through McLean's, and he goes onto the gravel, and bang! Oh, that car is has got 3 wheels on the wagon. And Elliott Court has, I think, has just possibly cost himself 3rd place in the championship standings. So 20 of the 21 starters still running around the circuit. As we said, JT Smeaton is one person that is truly flying with the greatest of ease around this nearly 2.5 mile circuit that currently sees action such as British GT, British Formula 4, the Porsche Carrera Cup GB, and British GT amongst others. But Smeaton looks like he is really, really in the zone. And the number 45, tied on points, race entry, is firing on all cylinders nice and sweetly.
Yeah, sweetly for Smeaton. There you go. Yeah, so Smeaton definitely set that pace. But here, Caustic, as you said, put down the fastest lap of the race here a couple of laps ago. He is working up on the back of Hop here for that 3rd position, get himself up into the podium spots. But he looks to have some pace here. If he can just clear some traffic, he might have something for Smeaton. But unfortunately, he finds himself about, about 5 seconds back right now. So we'll have to see if he can make up any ground.
Yeah, well, not even at the halfway point, and there are battles starting to emerge. As Gabriel Hop still being closed in on by Kostek, who still has the fastest lap of the race at 1 minute 9.724 by the 222 from Poland. Chris is closing in again on Christian Jasper.
Big snap.
Oh, that was a big old tank slapper there for Kostek. Managed to catch a hold of it. Along with the battle here for Kostek, that's going to bring Adam Merchant back into the fight now, who's now up into P5, courtesy of that moment. Oh, Elliott. Oh, the 2 Elliots. I don't believe it. The number 81 has just come into the pit lane after 1 minute and 10, and that is not what you want to see. The two Elliots, both in the same team, have both fallen foul of everything that's happened. And Adam Merchant is now the quickest out on circuit. 1 minute 9.578 for the number 4 car. And he is still trying to chase down Kostek. Christian Jasper closing in on Chris Sears for P8. And that is getting even more heated under the collar between the two, between Chris and Christian. So that gap is about a second between the pair as they go up the hill through into McLean's. But both the Elliots, I'm afraid, Chris, they really, really have not helped themselves that much at all, with big dramas, especially for Mr. Elliott Court coming out of McLean's and on the run up to Coppice.
Yeah, Elliott Court, you saw he came back out of the pits, then he jumped right back in there, and I think he may be done for the day. Elliott Rolls, I did not see what happened to him on any of our event logs, so just maybe had that unfortunate event, got off the track, and we didn't catch it. But looks like you said, looks like they're both maybe done for the day. If nothing else, they're definitely out of contention for any good starting finish in this finishing position in this race for sure.
Yep, and well, JT Smeaton retrieves the fastest lap back to him once again. And if he does bag that by the end of the race, that'll be 30 points for a win and another point itself for the fastest lap. No points for pole position in time qualifying, as we are rapidly heading towards the halfway point of this race, as the battle between 3rd, 4th and 5th, Gabriel Hop, Kostek and Adam Merchant rounding out your top 5. Then we got a little bit further back, Christian Jasper versus Chris Sears, as Kostek gets through and has broken the deadlock on Gabriel Hop. But to the outside he goes through out of Goddard's. And now it's going to be the drag race at this moment in time. Will Kostek use his push to pass? No, it looks like it's recharging at the moment because that light over the airbox is flashing. And now Gabriel Hop will try and do what he can, but this is bringing in Adam Merchant to his company. now turning into threes a crowd, and Adam Merchant fires his way through at the old hairpin on Gabriel Hop, and now to the outside of Kostek through at Schwantz Curve and makes it through at McLean's. That is a great job there by the number 4 from Tide on Points Racing. Up from 5th, within a third of a lap to P3. Bravo.
Yeah, fantastic move from Adam Merchant right there. He watched Costa get up underneath of Hop right there, took advantage of that, followed him through, and then at the same time, Costa made a little bit of an error getting into the corner and left that bottom line open. Merchant just took advantage and finds himself back up into the podium positions.
Well, we are nearly at the halfway point. We've just started lap 16 out of 32. And more to the point, it has been, once again, like it was at Spa, until the final corner of the final lap. And I don't mean to, give JT any stick for that at all. It was an accidental error on his part. And you know what? These things do happen. That is part and parcel of racing. But he's just put in a 1 minute 9.130. Frankie Brzezowski now gets a track limit slowdown penalty here at Donington Park. But with the gap now between first and second of being nearly 4.8 seconds, you might think that JT Smeaton is going to take it easy. But us having known these guys and gals here at Sim Racing for Simpletons quite a few years now, JT Smeaton will do anything bar being relaxed at this moment in time because he wants to have that adrenaline coursing through his veins.
Yeah, when you get out in front like this, a lot of times you kind of, I mean, the nice thing we have here with iRacing and these, you have a lot of different overlays. You can see where the cars are behind you. But a lot of times sometimes you don't know where that guy is, and you got to keep pushing. Got to keep pushing to make as much of a gap as you can, because like you said last week, he made a mistake at Spa, and if he had a bigger gap, he might not have lost that race. But you also, if you get out of your rhythm and you start to slow down, thinking you got a big lead, if you get out of that rhythm, you just start to make a few more mistakes. So he's just going to keep pushing here.
Yeah, sometimes it's just all about running your own race, and that can be very, very crucial if your name is JT Smeaton, because if he decides to take it as a Sunday afternoon cruise in the Leicestershire countryside, well, that could allow Di Gregorio, Merchant et al. Try and close on in. And in the meantime, we're looking at the lap times here. Merchant is now starting to try and reeling Di Gregorio as it's a 1 minute 9.1 flat bang on the nose for JT Smeaton as we hit half distance. Well, we've gone past half distance. We're now on 18 out of 32 laps here at Donington Park GP. And it's once again, it is like we've seen in many a race so far, Chris. It has been the JT Smeaton show. And there's only been a handful of drivers that have either gotten really, really close, or in the case of teammate Adam Merchant, taking full advantage of your teammate's faux pas coming through out of the bus stop chicane. At all places, Spa-Francorchamps losing the back end, frantically trying to engage the push to pass and the accelerator and moving it up the gearbox to take the win. And as we all know, that can really, really dent a driver's confidence as well, Chris, because sometimes you might think you're on cloud nine and everything's going really, really well for the races that you've been doing. But then when you go back into real life situations, well, it doesn't always set you up that nicely for it.
No, not at all. And we're taking a look here at Adam Merchant in that third position. I thought once he got past Kostek here, and I apologize for calling him by his first name, but I'm horrible at pronouncing last name, so I'm going to keep calling him Kostek. But he is not shaking Kostek there for that third and fourth spot. Adam Merchant trying to drive away, but I think we're going to see this race play out for the remaining 13 or 14 laps of this race.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, Chris. And we've seen from Kostek how capable the man from Poland is, and he's still keeping Adam Merchant incredibly honest as they go over the little bump through at Starkey Strait before the Fogarty S is. Of course, the Fogarty S is named after a man known for his adventures and somewhat unusual comments, let's say. Didn't always capitalise on the norm. Carl Fogarty, who was a World Superbike racer, World Superbike champion, and at one point a World Superbike team owner. Right, looks like Dakota Demaged has just received a slowdown penalty, which the driver will have to serve very expediently. And more again, JT Smeaton is using this as a glorified qualifying show. He's just gone under 1 minute 9 seconds for a lap. Incredible pace. JT Smeaton, you said about the fact that he's in clear air and he can push, so that's going to put less stress on the tyres, less stress on the driver, and it's going to mean that JT Smeaton is enjoying every single corner of this 2.5 mile circuit here in the Lincolnshire in the Leicestershire countryside, and more to the point, he is just so calm. He's cooler than a cucumber that's been left in the fridge for a week.
That's pretty cold. Yeah, you can see, and he's right now out in front, Smeaton, like you said, every single lap. It's like he's just out there qualifying. He's over almost a half a second faster than anybody else in the field at any time during this race. But I think he's within about maybe 4 to 5, maybe 6 laps of catching the back runners here. We'll have to see how he can deal with those. I mean, but he does have almost an 8-second lead right now. He could definitely take his time, but he's not. He is pushing hard every single lap. Looks like he's trying to get a little warmth in the tires right there.
Yeah, and he's still got the full complement of his push to pass system in his hands, so he doesn't always need, once you hit the front of the field, and if you can build a little bit of a gap, as we've seen between Smeaton and Di Gregorio, that gap continually in one shape or another is expanding. And looking at the last lap times, well, 1 minute 9.1 for JT Smeaton. Di Gregorio, who is now 8.2 seconds adrift. What's his lap time going to be? A 1 minute 9.7. Personal best for the Brazilian. But at one point, Adam Merchant. Adam Merchant has just done exactly the same fastest lap time as his teammate. So keep your eyes on the man in P3. He is closing that gap down to Gregorio, and that is now 2.6 seconds as we are on lap 22 out of 32. 11 to go, including this one here, Chris. This is sizing up rather nicely as some drivers really comfortable now, and Adam Merchant seems to be one of them.
Yeah, Merchant qualified fourth in this race. He's back up to third. He must have had a mistake here the first lap or two. Kind of fell back a little bit, but he's working his way back up there, and he is definitely gaining on Gregorio right now. And I think within the next, before this is over with, I think we're going to have a battle for second, and he's bringing Caustic with him as two, so we may have a 3-car battle for that second position.
Yeah, that gap is coming down rapidly. Di Gregorio lost quite a lot of time, and he's just lost another, that's over 1.4 seconds that João Di Gregorio has just lost over the last 2 laps. So Adam Merchant has got that gap down to P2 to just under 1.9 seconds. And the gap is dwindling at every single corner, every single braking point, every single apex. So Merchant looking to see if both he and JT Smeaton are able to cross the line in a 1-2 formation. And that'll be a big sigh of relief for the respective manufacturer as well. But then you go back to Dakota Demage, who ends up after what has been a pretty busy 23 laps of the circuit here. You can bet that a lot of people would not go for a job like this. But nevertheless, you know, I can't believe how quickly these laps have gone by here, Chris. Like they have just literally flown by, as if like someone's just gone, here, have a look at this race, and the next thing you know,
It's all
you
over.
think you've watched, it's all over, and you know, you think you've watched 10 minutes of racing, whereas it's actually been like 45.
Yeah, it's gone very quick. I didn't expect it to go this fast for sure, but thanks to Smeaton and the rest of this group, they are really laying down some lap times out here. And we've only got 8 laps left to go right now. And Smeaton, he's out in front here by almost 10 seconds. But as we said earlier, he might catch his the back runners here before it's over with. If we jump in the car with him, he can actually look down the end of the front straightaway, and he can see the lap cars down there. That is the background. I think that is maybe Jace Meyer. So we're going to see if Smeaton can keep up this pace for the next 7 or 8 laps here.
Yeah. Well, the jury's not quite out yet at the moment, folks, so we are still waiting for some to really start pulling along and trying to close in on the drivers in front. Sergei Podok just had just been given a slowdown penalty for track limits. Go beyond the scope of the track limits, it looks like. So the number 44 has not had a really good run for the majority of this weekend, but we ride on board with Adam Merchant. You can see he's closing still on Joao Di Gregorio for for this second position. So again, Adam Merchant has taken chunks of time out of the Brazilian. I mean, last time round he took over 5.5 tenths of a second, and you know, Joao Di Gregorio is not a slouch in his own right, but when you have the hard-charging Adam Merchant closing in on you, the first thing that you're thinking to yourself is, why on earth does this keep on happening to me? How can I get better and better over the course of the season to make sure that I don't have to deal with maybe 1 or 2 particular people, but they all have a lot of respect for each other here in the Sim Racing for Simpletons League, as Kostek now is the fastest driver overall. But look at Adam Merchant right on the back, going through into Coppice on Joao Di Gregorio, as we are very close to hitting half an hour of racing completed, as these two go through into the Fogarty S's, and then it's the short run downhill, hard on the brakes, and turn it into the hairpin at Melbourne for another hairpin coming up to conclude the lap here at Goddard's. But still, don't know how, but Merchant, a very lucky individual. I just don't know how some drivers can keep this focus in this, you know, this like je ne sais quoi kind of situation that we have sometimes, Chris, where you'll have 2, 3, 4 carts, you know, either stacked up or put along a shelf in a very neat line. But still, Merchant has a chance to get through on Di Gregorio. So this is where it is crucial on how you deal with the next 2 to 3 laps. Any wrong movement now by some of the drivers is more than a cat. That has been, well, it's more about the cat that's getting the cream, and the person that's doing that is JT Smeaton, because he's got a lead over Di Gregorio of now 11 seconds here, Chris. And we are only, well, we've just started lap 28 out of 32. So 5 laps to go, and Smeaton hasn't really taken a step back to, he'll probably have taken a step back to smell the virtual roses on the circuit, but just like how dominant once again he has been. It's just like it's the original Terminator, Cyberdyne Systems Model 101, and that is JT Smeaton when you stick him in a Super Formula car.
Yeah, and he is catching those back runners as we talked earlier. Jace Myers kind of gets over and gets out of the way. His next victim is going to be Jake Katz, and they're just going to pull over, get out of the way. I'm used to watching some GT3 races where they don't tend to pull over that easily. So in the Super Formula here, it doesn't look like that lap traffic is going to be any problem for Smeaton. But we look back here at Merchant. Merchant ran down Gregorio here, but has not been able to find a way. You can see him right here. He gets into the corner a little deeper, but that actually costs him a little run off the corner as Di Gregorio gets a much better run and puts a little bit more gap there between them. So we've only got about 3 or 4 laps. Merchant has got to find a way around here if he wants to get back up into that second position. But Di Gregorio doing a great job of defending and he's actually, with Merchant lurking right there on the back like that, he is being patient, getting the car into the corner nice and smooth and getting a good run off.
Yeah, so we're coming down to the final few laps of this race here for round 6 of Sim Racing for Simpletons season number 5. And, well, it's going to be a race to forget for the two Elliots, Court and Rolls, the two teammates. They really have not had the best of running here at Donington Park. But still, Joshua Benjamin has just gone off. Anthony Zitch has just ended up in the pit lane. And here we go, dive bomb to the inside on Di Gregorio. And at that point, Kostek nearly saw the move or the window of opportunity open his way. And, well, Adam Merchant has just spot it coming out of Goddard's. Oh no, that is disaster for him. He was so close. He was so close to getting with Joao Di Gregorio, and now Gabriel Hopp goes up the inside of the number 4 car, who rejoins, and that now puts Adam Merchant down into 5th, but he's going to push every single way he can, and he gets hip checked. Oh, sidewall checked by Gabriel Hopp on Adam Merchant, and that is a big off-track for the American for tied on points racing. Adam Merchant's race within the last 60 seconds has quite unceremoniously been dealt that killer blow.
Let's go back and look. I think what happened here is Merchant took a look went to block that inside from Caustic. He didn't have a very good run trying to get around Gregorio, and he moves off to the left here. I don't know if he got a little bit of a tap behind from Caustic there, moved him over, but it just really caused him a bad line getting in the corner right here, and you can see him just lose the back of the car right there mid-corner. Unfortunate. He had a great run going.
Yeah, I mean, even with the fact that Kostek was around the outside of him, it looked like the pair did not make contact. So it looks like Adam Merchant has just, in his own right, put a little bit of...
Take a look.
Yeah, let's have a look. Okay, so Kostek to the outside. Now he's going to have to turn in here. Has to avoid, yep. So, and it looks like it was self-induced by Adam Merchant that time. Meanwhile, Di Gregorio and Kostek are pretty much inseparable at the moment, and Kostek closing in on Di Gregorio, so the battle from the second place, which Di Gregorio built up. But nevertheless, white flag lap is out. This has absolutely flown by. 36 minutes ago, we went lights out here at Donington Park, and JT Smeaton, okay, might not have the fastest lap of the race. Kostek looks like he will have that. No, he won't. It's Adam Merchant who puts it a 1 minute 8.636. Meantime, Smeaton making his way through the double right-hander here at Coppice on what is the 32nd and final lap of this 6th round. And he goes through the Fogarty S's one more run down into what will be Melbourne hairpin. Just Goddard's to negotiate, and he can rather calmly get himself across the line, through on the brakes, rotate the car through the corner, out of Goddard's, and more to the point, JT Smeaton back to victory lane after a fast-paced and rapid fire.
And contact
Round
there between
number
Caustic and
6.
DeGorio.
Oh, no, 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 and that was on the final corner. Hey.
It looked like Caustic tried to make a move, and I couldn't. I have to go back and take a look at see really what happened. But you can see DeGorio's down there, wing knocked off the back of the car. Caustic's going to end up coming home in second.
So, yeah, and that just goes to show how quickly things can change. And let's have a look here. So,
I'm not quite sure right there. Look, DeGorio. I don't know if Caustic was not expecting DeGorio to slow down as much as he did or what, but DeGorio, the slowdown right there, and Caustic just kind of ran over the back of him. Let's see if we can look at it from Caustic's view here. Maybe I went back too far on that one, but
yeah, I mean, it's just, you just could be that little bit unfortunate, if I'm honest with you here, Chris, that,
yeah.
one driver goes for the move and then you have to react. And it comes down to split seconds of timing. That's very much the case. But Kostek just losing it through Goddard's, and he was very, very lucky he held on to that second position, because the way things stood, yeah, and there you see a vehicle without its rear wing on. But what can I say about that particular race there? It was just simply awesome, because you need you need to always calm down after all of these races, and JT Smeaton has just done a stellar, stellar job. And with that, let's take you through the provisional race results. JT Smeaton wins after 32 laps by a mighty 17.3 seconds ahead of Kostek. Then it's Joao Di Gregorio and countryman.
Not sure why it's let's see if we get the back up here. Did they penalize it? I
Looks
don't
like there has. No. Well, there were a couple of black flags. So, yeah, Kostek got one, Di Gregorio got one. So that's why Kostek now sits in 12th position. JT Smeaton takes the win. Gabriel Hopp will be P2 after Kostek and Joao Di Gregorio. Looks like they both got black flags after the race itself. And then a little bit further back, well, Adam Merchant, fastest snap of the race, 1 minute 8.164. So good job from him. But, I mean, you look at how close these drivers been. Jeff Groff and Chris Sears were 2.7 seconds apart. They round out the top 5 ahead of Leo Delmas. Christian Jasper, Frankie Brzezowski, Brian Long ends up across the line. It was then due to change at that point. Frankie Brzezowski.
Are you with us, Alex?
Yep, I am indeed. And
Let's see if
yeah,
we.
it just goes to show. It just goes to show how quickly things can change. We have got some drivers waiting in the interview area, and funnily enough, it's the tied on points duo. First of all, let's bring in, if we can, a man who now finally has got himself back on victory lane, JT Smeaton. Welcome in, back to winning ways here at Donington Park. Boy, oh boy, did those laps fly by.
Yeah, it was first of all, hello guys. Yeah, it was definitely wasn't as easy as I planned it for. Of course, I put myself under a little bit of pressure in qualifying there. I invalidated my first 2 laps, and my third lap was pretty scruffy, and that wasn't good enough to get pole. But yeah, that final lap, I just managed to squeeze ahead of Zhao there. But yeah, I mean it's a tricky track though. You know, even when you're up front by what 10 or so seconds, it's an easy track to get off tracks at. You know, the wind plays a big factor around here as well with the high speed. So yeah, definitely have to watch out for that.
But you made it look so effortless, even though we know that you were pushing more than 10 tenths there, JT. I mean, it is a bit of a roller coaster here at Donington Park. I mean, when you all got the news that it was on the season 5 calendar, what were your first thoughts when you went, Donington, that's going to be an interesting one in a Super Formula car?
Well, I'll tell you here, Alex. My reaction was, "What is this place?" Because I mean, obviously, I've heard of it from F1. They used to race there back in the day, but yeah, it was interesting to nonetheless to see it on the schedule because it's a track that I actually haven't driven around ever before this week. So I definitely have to put some practice in. But yeah, it's a very enjoyable track. It's just it seems a little tricky for overtaking, although from what I've seen
Mm.
so far, some drivers try to make it work.
Yeah, and this helps you extend your lead in the driver's standings heading into the next round. I mean, it's all looking pretty good for you so far. Let's be honest with you. I mean, Elliot caught you up in the driver's standings, but Gabriel always seems to be there or thereabouts, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he has some really good pace. You know, and even if he's not the quickest at some of the tracks, you know, he's really consistent. I think he's by far one of the most consistent drivers on the grid. So that's definitely, you know, good motivation because, you know, even if you're at a track where you think you're comfortable, you always find ways to pick up a good result, especially with the others around him, you know, getting into incidents possibly. But yeah, we'll see for the rest of the season. There's still a good what 3 or 4 rounds left, so plenty of stuff things can happen. You know, you can lose the championship in one race, but yeah, just gotta stay focused, and I'm sure he'll put up a good fight.
We head to the Hockenheim ring next time out for round 7 next week. That's going to be another very, very quick track, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. That's a really fun track. It's good for racing as well with that back straight and the hairpins. So I reckon racing will be pretty good around there. But yeah, it's another driver's circuit, similar to Donington. You know, need a lot of commitment, especially around those high speeds. So yeah, we'll see what that brings. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be a pretty good race.
Well, JT, congratulations on once again hitting victory lane. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh yeah, of course. First, I want to give a big shout out to my teammate Adam on the podium, and yeah, good for the championship. It's been a pleasure to be teammates with him so far this season, and I've learned a lot from him. Of course, with him being the reigning champion last winter, so learned a lot from him. And a big thank you to my family as well for always supporting me. Really appreciate it.
Brilliant. JT, congratulations on the W here at Donington Park, and we'll see you next time out for the second to last race at the Hockenheim Ring in Germany. Well done.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
So, big thank you there to JT Smeaton, our race winner for this particular round of the series at round 6. Next up, let's bring in his teammate, Adam Merchant. I want to have a catch up with him anyway, first of all. Adam, good evening.
Alex, how are you? Alex and Chris, thanks for the broadcast today.
No problem at all. Firstly, you were a lucky so and so at Spa last week, weren't you? First of all, let's talk about that moment there
Yeah.
when you saw JT have that big old whoopsie daisy moment out of the bus stop chicane. I bet you couldn't believe your luck.
Yeah, I mean, I was not the fastest driver. Did not deserve the win there. He definitely had really good pace in at Spa, but he was trying to push for the fastest lap. But yeah, I mean, we're teammates, so total championship points are the same, and he's well ahead in the drivers than me. So, um, but yeah, very lucky on my side.
Also, you picked up the fastest lap of the race, my friend. 1 minute 8.164. I mean, those these cars were getting so rapid around the circuit here at Donington Park. But let's talk about what happened to you going through the final corner at Goddard's. I mean, you went for a move. You were battling with Kostek, I believe, and you came out of the Melbourne hairpin, and you had a good little run, but then all of a sudden it all went horribly wrong. What
Yeah.
happened from your perspective?
So, I'd say Joao. Apologies if I'm not saying his name right. We were a little faster than him, Kostek and I, and we kind of just, you bottlenecked a little bit. And I didn't realize that Kostek had the push to pass on behind me, and so I defended. And that track had so much camber on that final turn. Was approaching it at an angle I had not really practiced before, and yeah, just locked the rear, spun. I'm glad I didn't give anybody damage, and I didn't pick any up myself. So just a little bit too much ambition on my side.
So you kind of did the SR4S equivalent of an Alex Verts ran out of talent, was it?
Absolutely, sadly.
Well, still, nevertheless, I mean, we did have some drivers demoted, I think, due to some black flags for hitting incident point limits right at the end of the race. So
Yeah.
you ended up fifth at the end of that one. So it's still good, solid points in the Simpleton Cup for both you and JT at the Tide on Points Racing Crew. So you guys must be feeling pretty happy heading to Hockenheim next week.
Yeah, good results. I think actually on the timing sheet here I see P3 because I was P5, and then those two drivers, Kostek and Joao, finished 12th and 11th respectively. So I think I gained 2 positions because of the additional time they had to add to their race.
Mm-hmm. Well, still, nevertheless, a podium's a podium. So,
Yeah.
Adam, well done. Congrats. And also, congrats on the fastest lap of the race. Anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, thank you guys for the broadcasts. As usual, it's always fun listening to you guys and watching it over after the race. So, gonna go do that today.
Brilliant. Adam, we'll see you next week at Hockenheim for round number 7. Well done today.
Thank you, Alex. Bye.
Big thank you there to Adam Merchant. And next up, well, our last interview of the day. Let's bring in from FNG Racing, Mr. Gabriel Hopp, who we spoke to earlier on in the season, at the season opener at Interlagos. Gabriel, how are you?
Hello, your voice cut it a bit for me, but hello.
Well, a bit of a tough one here at Donington Park here for you tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, new track. I didn't have time to practice a lot, and I really didn't like the track. Very surprised with the P2, just like Imola. But yeah,
Hmm. I think the biggest surprise was when you finally broke the Interlagos curse at the first round of the season when you ran with that wonderful Brazilian flag livery on the FNG number 29. But still, this championship is going all the way down to the wire, and we've still got Hockenheim Ring, Montreal, and Suzuka left to go. Are those three circuits that could really help you in your title push here in season 5?
yeah, absolutely. Those three are like from this calendar. Those three are my best three, I would say.
Hmm.
Really gonna try to push on these last races.
Yeah. I mean, obviously now I think in the amended side of things, you ended up, I think, was it P2? Because I think Kostek and Joao got black flagged towards the end of the race. So I think there may be an adjustment in the timing. So looks like you've taken a good haul of points tonight.
Yeah. It was a very lucky one. I'm having some good luck in these last races. But
Mm.
yeah, I'm gonna try to not depend on it for the next ones.
Well, Gabriel, congratulations. Well done on the result tonight here at Donington Park. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to say thank you to?
I'm to say thank you to my family. Honestly, they're probably watching this one, and yeah, kind of an unexpected result, but yeah, this is for them.
Brilliant. Well, Gabriel, muito obrigado, and we'll see you next time out for round 7 at Hockenheim in Germany.
Muito obrigado. See you guys there.
So big thank you there to Gabriel. Chris, what can we say about this one? JT Smeaton rules the roost here at Donington Park. Kostek and Joao get penalised with black flags, promoting Gabriel and Adam to the final steps of the rostrum. It's still very much game on with the Drivers' Championship heading into Hockenheim next week. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, first few laps of the race, actually probably about the first 10 laps of the race, we didn't see a lot of excitement. Everybody kind of followed, got in line, set their own pace. But then we started closing up on that battle for second, third, fourth, and fifth, and action just became a little more action-packed than we expected. But as you've said many times, the laps went by so fast tonight. It's my first time here with this group, and first time here with these Super Formula cars, and they're just a lot of fun to watch. I can't wait to see what happens next week at Hockenheim.
Yeah, 32 laps went by in about 37 minutes. So that's how quick these single seaters are here at this fantastic facility. Well, folks, that wraps up not just the race coverage, but our post-race interview show for round number 6 of season 5 of Sim Racing for Simpletons as it heads from Donington Park to the Baden-Württemberg region of Germany, just outside Bavaria, as we will head to the 4.574 kilometer circuit at the Hockenheim Ring. Same place, same time next week. This has been a JP Broadcasting Network production. You've been in the company of Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Murphy. We've had a really, really wonderful roller coaster ride here at Donington Park. We'll see you next week for round 7 of what looks to be an exciting run to the championship finale at Suzuka in around about 4 weeks' time. Until next time, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, just like JT Smeaton, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye for now.